My first experience in Budo about the lights out, I'd never seen how it was like one moment you're up here, then the next moment you're under your beds. Later on, of course, we learned how to play around with it. But for me, that was a nasty experience. Yeah.
And, I think for us, lights out was at 10.
Yeah, yeah. It was,
And so between 10 and 6:30.
Preps ended at like
9:30.
9:45. I
Yes,
think.
9. So you had the
9:30.
9:30.
There was time for O levels and
Yes.
time for A
Yes.
levels.
Yes.
Actually, seniors S4 to S6 was I think 11, and S1 to S3 was 10. Yeah.
For lights out.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
For
prep.
prep.
Prep time
From
to end.
7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
No?
No. It was I think 7:30 or 8.
7:30 to 9:30. That's for sure.
That's
That
for
was
O
it,
levels,
O-level,
and then
yeah.
their lights out at 10.
Yeah.
Then sorry, not O levels, but S1 to S3. Then the seniors S4 to S6, they would continue. They would have break
Short break. Yeah.
from 9:30 to 10. Then they would continue with preps to 11. Yeah. No, it was up to 10, I think. Then lights out. Their lights out would be at 11, something like that. Either to 10:30, then lights out for the seniors would be 11.
So some sort
Actually,
of extension
what
for
I
the
recall
for
mostly is that
the
around a
seniors.
certain time, I don't know what time, the girls would leave.
Yes.
We'll all be seated in the mess or wherever, and then at a certain moment, all the girls leave.
I think the girls used to all finish at the same time with the first phase of the prep, so that they're all crossing
Because they had
to
to
the
cross
fields at once. And then now the senior boys would stay, finish until later for that second extension. And then some girls would extend a bit in the common rooms, a little bit here and there. But now there was that final lights out, the final one.
Which was
Now
11
that
o'clock,
one
I think.
was the one you didn't dare
Oh,
to
really?
talk or get caught, because somehow the teachers had this stealth mode they operated in. And there are some teachers who's weak on duty. I don't care how swift you think you are. Because we had a lady, she was the fastest teacher. Lady teacher. Even on sports day, she was the fastest. Yeah. Doesn't matter what, and she used to wear long skirts, but she was so fast. It doesn't matter how fast you think you are. And she would be in stealth mode, come in, then she would listen outside the window. Then she said, next to me, I don't know. And you know, So you have to figure out either to just run to someone else's corner, or, because if she enters, that whole corner, you're done. You can't run, you can't escape. Even those who used to dodge, during her week, people didn't dodge. Because if she chases you, there is no way she's not getting you. She was so quick. She would get you. Just surrender, you've got me. I'm cutting whatever it is I'm cutting, my porter. You allow immediately. And so some teachers, I think even boys then, there's an Australian housemaster who, for him, was always in stealth mode. You hardly heard him. He was a physics teacher. You couldn't hear his footsteps.
Who is this?
Even the way
I
he
know
talked,
who he was, but certainly no names here.
But
Yeah.
for good reason.
But he was also quick. He was quick. You couldn't escape. But there's a way he just used to appear out of nowhere, and then the next thing you know, the guy is standing right there. So if it's his week, you just don't even pretend that you're going to start running. You're done for, because he was also quick. So some of those teachers had skills, but that stealth mode was, I don't know where they learned that from, but it got many people into Porter and all that. I was not, but nah.
We have
Me,
the
I-
first sentence.
Nah.
The senior prep was done in Mess, right?
No,
the girls?
I think they did.
Yeah,
Ours was in.
During-
Absolutely.
Ours was in classes.
All the boys were in mess for prep, no?
No,
In our
but-
time, it was
girls.
only girls.
around 1986, there was a lot of power load shedding.
Yeah.
So we used to use lanterns, certain pressured things.
Yeah.
Steamers.
Steamers.
They would hang them in the mess. And then all of us would gang there
You
and
guys suffered.
it was a very bad experience.
Yeah.
You walk
Hard
around
times.
the campus, the whole campus, and lights are so dim you could hardly see. I don't know what had happened. around.
Yeah.
So
That was-
the only place to read was the mess.
For both boys and girls?
Yeah.
Yes, boys
Yes.
and girls. So all of us were crammed there.
Yeah.
Actually, we would go in for supper, then get out. Somehow they clean the tables, then
then
we
we
go
go
back.
back
And
with
we
our
put
books.
those,
Strange.
How did you sit
Not
for those preps,
essential.
boys and girls? What was the sitting arrangement?
I mean, it's a co-educational school. We had to mix, so it was free sitting.
For prep.
For prep, yeah.
But
And you know, when the girls would want to excuse themselves, they'll go and sit in pairs,
Yeah.
and they will go to their place. They'll stop
the
there,
cloakroom.
then they, like,
Clock.
Yes, the clock
Yeah,
room,
that
yeah, the
clock
staff room.
So, but now after
Yeah.
lights out, by the way, the power would later become stronger. The at a certain hour, the lights would be brighter. So somehow, I remember one day, everybody had slept, so we had extended, me and my colleague. Yeah, so we were in one of the rooms. Now we left we had enough books. We had extended. So after the books, we went into Kabozi. So at a certain point, I thought it was time to leave. So I told guys, I said, okay, me, I'm leaving. So I got my books. And I walked, it's those small rooms, Mutesa House,
Yeah.
the lower room,
Yeah.
that first cubicle towards the door. Yeah, as you enter Mutesa House, lower block, there's a cubicle there. So we're inside there. Now, as I was walking out like this, we were laughing, we were cracking jokes and laughing. So, all of a sudden, I kept quiet because I saw somebody wearing glasses. so it was dark, you know, everybody had slept. Somebody wearing glasses and I was laughing. So all of a sudden I kept quiet. But I had no time to
tell
warn
the
my
rest.
colleagues that things have changed.
Danger.
So suddenly, the guy pushes me back. He says, "Go back." I said, "Okay. Good evening, sir." He said, "Good evening." then this guy noticed I was talking to somebody. So he knew each of us. Then he told me, "What are you doing?" I told him, "Sir, we had a discussion and we had to complete it." He said, "For you, you are new. But this one's here." So he was pointing at my colleagues. What is surprising is that he never took action. He told us to go back to our rooms. That was the late Baoba. And you know, what I had heard before was that was enough
Have you expelled?
to have either expelled or whatever. Eh? But I don't know what happened that night because he really got us. The good thing is that apart from we had cups, which had, of course, we'd been taking tea, and but I think he also, I don't know how much time he had been there because I just opened the door and saw him. Up to today, I don't know what was in his head because all other guys in my situation, in our situation, would have been either fired or what, I don't know.
But
Expelled or
wait,
something. Yeah.
during your time, did you have wardens?
What's that?
Oh, okay. I think when we joined Budo, there was this specific warden that was in charge of boys' end. And this specific gentleman, he manned the entire boys' end alone. And when...
No housemasters?
Not how... No, like, in charge of ensuring people wake up, people respect lights out.
But the sub-lampers are doing it.
What about the
So-
sub-lampers?
Prefects used to do
Yes.
Are the
So
sub-lampers?
this specific person comes at 11 because our preps used to end at 10. And this one time he comes and he had a unique voice, a way he speaks. "You are still sleeping." Just the sound of that, even if you've been in your wildest dream, you'd wake up. This one time he comes and we used to have a lot of football arguments. He comes and I think he said it while he was still out. So even the person who has been shouting the loudest pretended that they were deep asleep. So He comes and he stands near my bed. Then he's like, "Wake up, Pere." And everyone burst into laughter. Even the person who, yes, everyone who has been sleeping burst into laughter. And when everyone woke up, it's like, "All of you come." Now, it's passage, those corridors. It's time for passage. It's like, "Come to the passage." Collects everyone. And I remember that time, they took them to the farm for 1 full week. She was talking about unfair Potter, but that Potter was crazy. For one,
What then took you guys for?
yes, he was. I think he had the luxury to punish whenever he found you in the wrong. So
Was he a teacher or what?
I think a warden was introduced later.
yes, he was. He was.
Thank
He
you very
was.
much,
I
Lisa.
think even in recent times, the school still has wardens. They
The
just
school
don't-
has wardens,
Yes.
but they introduced a little later.
Anyway, your numbers were
Even
really
as we didn't
big, yeah? Because for us, outside the normal setup, the school was run basically by students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Students
the
made
prefect's
sure
house.
that we wake up. Students made sure that we're in the mess.
Prefects.
Yes.
Prefects,
No.
not specific.
Even,
And
I mean,
some-
even
some-
monitors,
And,
assistants.
especially the A-level class.
Yeah.
It was the responsibility of the A-level class to make sure that actually if the headmaster got to see somebody in O-level messing around and there was an A-level person around, the A-level person would be punished. So it was A-level people were supposed to be
Leaders.
exemplary,
Yeah.
To the
even
level-
without being
Yeah.
prefects.
Yeah.
So the school was run basically by students. That's my assessment, because they made sure we're in class on time, 7 minutes ahead of time.
I'm surprised you said someone woke you up. As a house prefect, I had to wake up
Yeah.
my house.
Yeah. For instance, the headmaster, there's that corner between the chapel, Australia House, and the mess. There's some kind of corner, right angle there. The headmaster will stand there, and that was enough.
Observe.
Just stand there, and the whole school will be in order, without anything. Just stand.
I'm trying to figure out how, when you have prefects and you have the bell, when it rings, how you're staying in bed, and then you need a warden to wake you. Because, like I said, at Budo, I think the environment was never tailored to, we're going to run after you, babysit you, do this,
Yeah,
stand
true.
up, sit. If the bell goes, okay, it was a gong in our time, and you don't hear it, someone will wake you, like, get up if you've done.
Yeah.
But to have someone come, a warden or whatever teacher to come to wake you, they come at the end, let's say by 7 you're supposed to be in mess. So now that's when now the house mistress goes through to see who has dodged. Not to wake you. Who has time to wake you?
Actually,
You should have gone by then.
In our times, it was the drum. Someone had to drum for the mess, for waking up, for the mess,
Yeah, for
you know,
breakfast and yeah.
breakfast, whatever.
Yeah.
I understood it a bit later. that
Chapel,
The major role of this
even warm
warden.
clothing. You know, when
Oh, yeah.
it became
And
cold.
it
They
had
beat
4 bits
the
of
bell for warm clothing.
When it was cold,
You couldn't wear warm clothing at random.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was a gong for warm
Yes.
clothing.
Yes.
Then you can put
Oh yeah,
10
and
bits.
it had a,
So
a
this
different
song
bit.
was-
So it had a different
So-
sound.
for warm clothing, it was I think the head prefect. 10 bits.
Never heard of
It could go cold, but you couldn't wear your warm
Yeah.
clothing
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
haven't had that drum.
Like
That was it.
that's just the school.
Yes, we had to depend
Oh, yeah.
on what
That was
the,
it.
So
You
the
had
head prefect
such
decides.
rules,
When the
I mean.
head prefect decides that it's really cold, then you would go and do those 10 beats. Then you could put on your other colored
Wait a minute.
cardigan.
This warm clothing.
No, at that time,
We never had
we never had school sweaters.
We had school sweat. We had gray cardigans, and for the girls, we made them ourselves. We would knit them. In this one, when you come, you start off with knitting your cardigans.
Oh wow.
Yes,
Now, was the drum
Now that is a skill that they drop along the way.
just
for the whole
so you
school.
could hear it all
But the boys had their cream sleeveless thing.
Ah, during our
For our
time, we
time,
didn't have
became
that.
a
these
full
things had
sweater later.
disappeared.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but the drum was there. No,
The drum for warm
The
clothing.
drum was there. There were different beats. 1, 2, lesson is changing.
Uh-huh.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's break time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Special assembly. There was that.
That was
Yes,
test.
there were different.
That was
We
test.
used to have
rhythms.
special assembly, roll calls.
Yeah.
Then you just had to know
Spot
which
calls.
beat is.
Special assemblies.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
In case of an
actually,
emergency.
I think we only did one special
There was also
assembly.
special assembly. I
there was
remember.
special assembly.
Yeah.
No, there was a time I think students left and went to
Nabbingo.
Nabbingo.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the night.
They went in the night
French leave.
to Nabbingo.
French leave.
And they were shot.
There was some kind of entertainment going on. And then students left the school. There was a lot of intercom between the two schools. So somehow the school this way got to know about that. And students went to Nabbingo. And in the process, I think some were shot.
Students are short, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think my
But the
only
shooting
memory-
happened in 1985. Many of us,
84.
What do you mean
84,
shooting?
85.
Yeah.
We hadn't joined, but it was a major story. Major
So
story.
for us in Kabinja, I mean, we were part
Students
of it.
were killed.
You know, at that time, this government had not come in,
Yeah.
but they were believed to be around in the bushes. So the guards the other side thought,
Oh, these were rebels.
yeah, trying.
Were they students though?
Oh yeah, I actually knew a family of one of them. Yeah.
So
But I mean, if students, because if memory serves, schools were some of the safe spaces
Yes.
where they didn't just come randomly. If I remember, maybe the time when, for example, when the smart guys walked
Walked
to
to
Budo
Budo.
to seek refuge, because suddenly they realized it may not be so safe if we stay here. Budo might be a safer, and they walked and they trekked. But then most people, schools were a safe space, so even villagers used to come to schools to get some sort of refuge, because if you're out there found wherever, the rebels are going to come and get you. But the assumption was, this is a school, these are kids.
Absolutely. That's true.
So
but
how are you
if you're
just
caught
shooting?
in between
Yeah.
the
How are you
schools,
just
they were
shooting?
caught in
Okay,
between.
during
Yeah.
the course of your movement
Remember,
from
you
Smart to
moved from
Budo.
King's College, Budo,
Yeah.
trekked through Chitemu. Oh,
through the fence, they don't go. They didn't go through the gate.
French leave.
It was, it was illegal.
So
Well, and it was in the
had
night.
to introduce those spot roll calls,
Yeah.
whereby anytime, anywhere, well, if by the way, even if it's class time and the drum for spot roll call goes,
You get out of class.
you get out of the class and go to be counted. And
Solomon, why in that
missing spot roll call.
Seriously.
No, not in the
Please
group
tell
that
us
went
what
to
happened.
Nabbingo. No. But I remember that part.
Yeah.
Watersock didn't read that part.
Meetings,
I remember
missing
spot
spot roll
roll calls.
missing spot roll calls
But
was
they must
next
have been
to
in class.
treason, because there you would
Remember
be,
that
I
story.
think there will be no excuse.
I heard about it.
Even if you are sick, with spot roll call, you had to report. And the results of spot roll call were taken straight to the headmaster.
Yes. I think
Instantly.
They used to do it in our times on like maybe a public holiday or maybe on the days it's a
Uh-huh.
loose day and maybe summary week
Yeah.
where they might suspect students might take French leave and then but I remember when from S1 every time you came in you were it was drummed into you that roll call is a must. Roll call is a must. And then the key thing we feared most was that when you're coming back for A level, they would use your roll call.
Roll call attendances.
Yeah, so you were always like roll call.
How do you track my attendances
I
from
don't
senior
think
one
they
to
did,
senior?
but
Because they used to
But
use
this
paper
is not-
and they would tick
So you
and
check-
them.
You
Yeah,
check
but
for
records-
Dennis from
The
senior
records were
4
always
years.
there.
If there's anything they did at the school, they kept records
True,
for
that's very
everything.
true.
So when you come out and you think you can do whatever, there's a record of your activities somewhere in your file.
But I think
But
over the years,
but I think those records should be kept extra confidential.
They are. They are. You actually cannot
Yeah,
just
Especially when they
access.
No, there should never be a need for those.
No, you
records.
can't access the school archives just like it
Okay.
doesn't. If it's not you, Eric, who wants your file,
Yeah.
and even your file, there's a limit to how much you can access. Because
Okay.
again,
Wow.
it's a school.
proper
Archives, they're not for the public.
Okay.
So even you, they can only allow you, I guess, to a certain extent, because we don't know where you are taking that information, for example, even if it's about you. So to a certain extent, they'll give you a bit of it, but some things are, they were not for you. If there is indisciplined, he's taking French leave, you don't need that information now. So they'll give you what you need, maybe for job references and I don't know, academics and whatnot, but not the whole file.
You know,
It might
it's-
disappear.
It's interesting you say, because I remember of a friend of ours who was being suspended, and the headmaster casually, not like very seriously, he said, it's interesting when you look at the reason why people are suspended and you compare it to their parents' records, because the dad had been a parent, had been a Budonia. And it's interesting, and he just said that and stopped at that. So it shows you they make reference
So
to
the person
Enough
knew.
said yes.
Yeah, he was an
And by the way,
outstanding.
they make reference because
Yeah.
normally, if your parent was in, say, Mutesa House,
Yeah.
you will also end up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, the records are there.
Yeah.
Because I think even when it comes to disciplining, they knew which child they would discipline at the school. Then they knew those ones, let's just send you home. Because this Apple didn't live there. They knew this family, these ones, you go and sort, your father sorts you out. We know you guys, you know, because you've seen the trend before.
Yeah.
And there's a record, so why waste time? They take you and, but the others will be like, this one, no. A few slashes here, a few compounds, you'll be okay, right? But then there are some parents who, I think the records they left, even the headmasters were like, this parent, now the children are going to be, and they see the evidence, and they're like, truly, indeed. I wanted us to tap a bit into the sports area. We have a few athletes in our midst, and just your experiences that time. We talked a bit about mango power. I don't know what it was like in the different times. Some people don't know what mango power is.
The girls then.
Oh, that Ben are talking.
The
Solomon,
bugs.
Solomon, you think us?
That place just had mangoes. Eh?
There was a mango tree in front of Sabaganzi
Yeah.
where they turn at this the running track was.
Yes,
So
that
in that
corner.
corner at Sabaganzi there was a big mango tree
Yes.
where the cheerleading squad used to sit.
The 200-meter mark.
And it
mom.
used to. I'll let the gentle. I didn't experience it because I'm not a guy. So the guys who used to run past there, please explain to us what happened.
So, for
How you
sure,
are
I was an athlete, and I did a lot of running about for my house. I wasn't top, but at least one of the few in our house. So I remember this one day when on sports day, we were doing the 4x100, and I am getting the button third. So the guy who ran second really lost a lot of, and they left him, and I got the button pretty late. So I started running after the group, which was almost at the bars or the mangoes. When we reached the corner, the girl power believe me, I went up with us because that was like a ninja putting me on that one. Yeah.
You see, when,
Yeah, so
when you talk about athletics, it gives me some memory that almost everyone in my year has a picture of.
right.
I was in senior one, and there was 100 meters, and Australia being a small house, I sloped down pitch to just see what is going on.
Cheerleading squad.
Yes, but Australia being a small house and people are already on the tracks, they've lined up, they're calling Australia House, there's no one. And my house mistress traces me from afar. Oh, Dennis, you're there. Come. Guys, she puts me on the track, and I am just in random. Like, I have never run 100 meters. She puts me there, and I think these were the fastest runners in school. Aloysius was the fastest in school, and they put me there. My friends till now joke about it that they finished the race 3 minutes later. It was so funny. You see, people have reached the other end.
You're just starting.
You're running backwards.
It was so.
To go to, I have a story now time about both Budo Junior, KCB, and going to athletics. So I don't know if this used to happen, but a certain housemaster of a rival house to South Africa in our times apparently took someone who was coming from Kabinja. So the person was apparently allocated to South Africa, and someone went behind, and we don't know if it's true, but it's what he told us. So the person was a sporting legend from Kabinja and was definitely coming in to Budo. So I think he was allotted to our house, but then somebody I think goes in behind and influences the system and goes to this house. This house had not even been a sporting powerhouse, but I can tell you that this guy literally won sports days for that house throughout our time. South Africa only won once. So I don't know if this used to happen, but it was interesting.
You guys got mercenaries.
No, that was not a mercenary. That was not a mercenary.
This
No,
You would have scouts in primary school amongst the P7 people who are coming, especially at Kabinja. These Kabinjans used to know who was who. So they would make sure that if he's on the list,
that one goes to that house.
or the powerhouse
Yes.
in those days.
So, but sports was a big thing. Like people knew.
No, it was a big, it was a very big thing. And in fact, I think King's College would have produced very
very good sportsmen. Yeah.
very
high.
at the national level, top sportsmen. Even guys like Aloro,
Yeah.
Robert Aloro, Patrick Carrico, Sunday Olwen, who was an athlete for the national team, and there are many others.
even Okello.
Dixon
Dixon Okello, who is
Dixon Okello was a runner.
Robert Ogwal.
Yeah.
Robert Ogwal,
Robert
No.
Ogwal.
known as
Yes.
Really?
Rusty Rowe.
I know.
He was a runner.
He was a very good athlete.
100 meters.
Yeah, runner.
Sanda Walusim.
Thunder was speed matches.
Sanda
Molocho.
fast.
Women sent some.
Someone
was
called
pretty
Musongi. There was someone called Musongi.
Musonge was in,
He was in
Makerere
Makerere
College,
College.
but they used to come and run
Yeah, yeah.
because of Sunday Olwen. There was that camaraderie with
Okay.
the athletes from other schools.
And then there was the ABNAC, All Boys National Athletics Championship, I think in 1984 or 85. Eh? So all those athletes were on King's College. That time I was in Kabinja, but we all came to King's College and watched these guys run.
These
We cheered.
superstars.
Yeah.
Did they used to make the fastest guy sports prefect in your time?
No, not really.
It was elective.
Well, the people who used
But
to
he
go
had
for
to
that
be a
post
Elective,
used to
but
be very athletic.
When you're
yeah.
standing for the post, you have to be to
You
give
have
them.
to demonstrate.
Not necessarily.
Yes, yes.
Because
Not
I
necessarily.
Think in our,
So-
Asa, correct me if I'm wrong.
Not necessarily.
In
As long as you campaign
which year
and
was the Hamza's
Convince
PC? Was it our S2, S1?
For this one.
Because we had this gentleman called Hamza,
Of course, Hamza Mujabi. Yeah.
and he used to sprint,
Yeah.
and he became the sports prefect.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes the girls, you didn't want to go around the pitch, the two pitches to go, and you're thinking you're clever, everyone is in class, and you try to cut through. But the sports prefect room, there's a window facing. Trust you me. In like a split second, Hamza is right here. You are crossing. Why are you crossing? Who allowed you to cross? And you're like, why? How? You start fumbling, and it's like, why are you? Because you can't even begin running. He's the fastest guy in school. You're not going to compete.
And he was a ragger.
Thank you. You're done. You just allow and Porter, please.
Also,
And
Yeah.
the sports prefect was Jonathan Mugabe.
Yes.
He's now a pharmacist.
I think he was also a rugby player as well, no? Did
He
Jonathan-
was a sprinter,
Okay.
and he was one of the top sprinters.
Yeah.
Him,
Sewali,
Ganzi was just a class ahead of
those
us.
guys.
Kansi the swimmer.
Yeah.
Someone joined us, Sembeguya. I don't know if
Were you an athlete as well?
Yeah.
100 meters?
Oh,
No, 400. But then I want to talk about a sport called swimming.
Oh,
We
yes,
also had
please.
swimming. I mean,
Yes.
many of the people who
Swimming?
were, yes, we had
Yes.
swimming. You guys
Well,
went.
there was
At
swimming
that time,
Nansobe,
Nansobe was still on.
and then it came up
Yes,
to the...
it had got down. Then when you guys left 94, about there, we started swimming. And I'll tell you, it was very interesting.
It
It
Because
wasn't there
down
before.
already.
It had been there
This
before,
was
and then it
repaired
had
it.
stopped.
Aye.
And then it was revived. But the pool was, they did a good plastering, sorted it out. But the only problem was the water was not clear.
Because of the trees.
I'll tell you, I love
of the trees.
That's where we had a joke
Yeah,
called
yeah.
Yamaha. This guy, we used to call him Yamaha because of the way he swam in that
Yamaha
pool.
body.
You've been
Like,
doing this for us.
One time we went swimming. Now, some guy from England House, he came, and unfortunately he dived in the shallow end.
In the what?
And unfortunately, because we were doing relays, and
In the sports, the competitions.
we were doing
But
competition.
you could die from
South Africa was really good. We
Why
had
did
Dr.
he do that?
Chibuka, we had myself, we had a couple of guys. But Mutesa had the Bukare, Derek, it had, then Ghana had this guy who went to Canada, Ismail. Ismail, remember Ismail? So that guy dived in the shallow end. Unfortunately, when he dived, he scraped his face in the bottom.
He didn't know that it was shallow end.
They had, I think,
Oh,
you remember,
you can
like
dive
way
from
they
the
picked
shallow
you,
end.
Kapere, they called it Kapere. The way they picked Kapere to run 100 meters. It was also funny that this guy, they told him, you can swim, you can make it. You see, there was that adrenaline rush.
Yeah, and you're young.
Sports, in England, there's nobody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's not a professional swimmer, so he makes a mistake. When you're diving in a shallow, you've got to
You have
just
to
skim
go
the water.
skim over,
But
yeah.
he could not skim the water, so he just went in. Blew off. It was called off. Man.
And because the water was not clear,
It
You
wasn't
would never
clear.
know.
quite see how
And they had
deep.
plastered the thing.
But you would know.
With some almost
You
like
would.
No, because you don't
I
know
don't
how
know
deep.
if you
Yeah,
know
it's shallow end, but you don't know how
hardcore,
deep.
Yes.
there's only which they can do a wall,
Yes.
and they leave some hard
Yeah,
rough
yeah,
dust,
yeah.
Kind of.
rough cut.
It wasn't
Yeah,
tiled
it didn't
yet.
have, it didn't
No,
have
it wasn't tiled.
He almost cut off his nose. Almost. He came out with white and it was
When
terrible.
you go to those, when you come from Nansove, first of all, you come out looking like a ghost. You're white.
Yeah.
Because they'll put so
Chlorine.
much chlorine.
Yeah.
Because I guess they never used to clean out the water that much.
Yeah.
And then also, because it's not tiled, it's cement.
Yeah.
So you come out very white. You look like, I don't know what. Eyes are red because too much chlorine. You've drunk some of it. Some frogs are there. It was a pond. Some people called it a pond. But I would like to say we now have a proper swimming pool,
Oh, yeah.
tiled and
That's
everything.
the best.
We have a
Clean,
Standard
clean
swimming
water,
pool.
25 meter
right?
outdoor
So
swimming.
I guess they were inspired to have a better swim.
Let me add one story on that, on the swimming. So when we go to S5, we thought we were now swimming, you know. A boy came from Ginger. He was in a Nigeria house. No, he was in Nigeria house. He entered in S2. He used to swim for Ginger Sailing Club. S2 boys. Ganzi, Derek Kukari, all the top swimmers, Ismail.
Derek or Donald?
No,
Derek.
Derek.
It was, Derek, the younger one.
And swimming was just their number one thing up to today. So what happened? That guy came and competed with us, S2, and he beat all of us.
Wow. Wow.
And a very, very, very interesting story. Everybody said, ask him, where did this guy come from? They said, ask him. He was in Nigeria house. So he started swimming for them every single race. And in swimming, you can do very many races if you've got enough, gas, whatever you call it. It was just an amazing thing. But Nansove today, when we handed it over to National Water, it's a pump, a water pump. We gave them the site to pump our water and the surrounding area. They said it even on Founders Day.
Yeah. So it's the new tanks.
I remember about
That's,
so there's a Kabaka. His name starts with the letter of the alphabet.
Yeah.
He came with confidence.
I know that one. England House?
England House. and he, as you said, maybe someone had convinced him.
Adrenaline. England had all those kind of
That he can actually swim.
That's not
He
a good
dived in the deep end, and then all of a sudden we hear, "Gentlemen of S6, I'm drowning."
I did.
And he was saying,
But so yes. No,
He was so diplomatic in
I
his
think he's being very
drowning.
diplomatic. After he's being diplomatic,
He was
that
so
guy used to
diplomatic.
speak very diplomatically.
Yes.
He, for example, would meet you on the campus when you're rushing, and you want to greet him. He said, "Hold on." He said, "Good afternoon." You know, like you don't have that time for good afternoon. How are you? And he'd be very slow in everything he does. Now, imagine a situation where he's drowned, but yet again. He said, "Gentlemen, I'm drowning." Instead of screaming and saying, "Guys, I'm going," And this,
No,
that
but
story
this
has
is a typical Buddha story.